Hello, everybody. Welcome to 2B1B podcast. This is an intro episode. I am your intro host, Liah. I am a content creator on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and also the CEO founder of Crave Beauty. And for those who don't know what Crave Beauty is a skincare brand that aims to slow down skincare in this very fast fashion like beauty industry. And we are excited to launch a new media brand called Anti-Consumer Consumer Club. So basically, at Anti-Consumer Consumer Club, we're trying to help people to consume better. I think taking away the joy of consumption is really not the solution to move the mass audience. But of course, if we want a more sustainable future, no consumption at all is probably the most sustainable option. And I know that there are a lot of great zero waste movement that is happening out there, but I know at times it can be unrealistic to some population, which is the reason why we wanted to help people to consume more consciously and consume better, consume more ethically, and support sustainable and socially conscious brands. And hopefully, this media brand will achieve the goal that we have. And with that, we have a new podcast called Two Baddies, One Brain Cell. And basically, 2B1B, in short, is a podcast hosted by our two youngest employees at Crave Beauty, Annette and Josine here. And these two baddies ask genuine questions that all Gen Zers think about, but are perhaps too scared to ask, like, are Gen Z truly conscious consumers, or are they just trend sheeple? Each episode brings in one expert, aka the one brain cell, to help answer the questions to become a more intentional consumer. So I'm excited to introduce everyone to the Josette. And Josine, do you want to start by introducing yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Josine. I work on the digital marketing side here at Crave Beauty, and I am the other certified baddie here, Annette.
Baddie number 2 here. My name's Annette and I'm the marketing associate here at Crave Beauty. So doing all things social. You guys may recognize me from our TikTok and our Instagram account, but if not, don't even worry about it. Don't fret.
So excited for you guys to finally launch this podcast because we have our own Geneva or community group, and Josine and Annette have been doing these kind of weekly or bi-weekly audio chats with their community. So I'm excited to officially bring these two as your hosts for this 2B1B podcast. But before we get into the topics, I have to ask, why did you name this podcast as 2B1B, or Two Baddies, One Brain Cell?
So obviously we need to give credit where it's due. Josine, do you want to explain?
Well, here at Crave Beauty, there's a lot of K-poppies here. Shout out to all the K-poppies in the world. But we were inspired by the beautiful song by NCT
Iconic.
127. It is titled Two Baddies, One Porsche. That's where it came from. But we changed
But then it got
to...
copyrighted. So then
Yeah.
it's just called Two Baddies now.
Yep.
But
Oh, really? For real?
yeah, because like I think legally they can't use Porsche. So in the song they still sing it, but in like the title track, like on Spotify
Got
or
it.
whatnot, it's not there anymore. But so yeah, that's kind of where we got the inspo from. Just two little K-poppies doing our thing. But yeah, like Leah said, me and Josine are the two baddies, right? We're sexy, we slay, and we just live life. And we want to bring on a brain cell to kind of educate us so we can be both sexy and educated.
Yes, Slay. So why are we starting this podcast? Sorry. Was that too millennial?
No, that was actually perfect. I
No,
would have
it was
exactly
great.
used it.
It was wonderful. Yeah, so I guess the way me and Josine came up with this topic is that obviously sustainability is more well known and widely known, and people are more interested in it, and there's more conversations of this, especially on social media. I specifically see it more like on TikTok, so people are interested in knowing about it, but there's just like so much, I think, information as well as misinformation out there. Also, just our generation as Gen Z are just a lot more conscious of the climate that's going on right now, whether that's politically or just with the general climate. So, you know, like we want to have these conversations, but sometimes it can be overwhelming. And then also there's people who, you know, argue against sustainability. I think specifically more so with the conversation of fast fashion. Like there's an argument that like, well, not everybody can live sustainably, and sometimes like just thrift shopping isn't the option for everyone. So me and Josine just really want to break down these topics from our perspective, because me and Josine are still pretty novice, I guess, to the sustainability discussion and topics as well. Therefore, we're the baddies and we need the help of a brain cell. Me and Josine are here to kind of be the general perspective of Gen Z when it comes to sustainability. And then we want to bring on someone who's more well versed in a topic that we can get their perspective on. So then we can kind of have a balanced conversation and hopefully educate our audience as well. Me and the two baddies will be educated, as well as the multiple baddies out there.
I love that. No, I think that makes sense because the Gen Z as a generation are very curious and they care about the climate. They care about speaking up for themselves and human rights and the activism more than any other generation. However, if you look at the top brands that are supported and bought by Gen Z, easily Shein is the first brand that comes to my mind. There's also other brands like Crocs or just random brands that you wouldn't necessarily associate with sustainability or ethical or like being socially responsible. So with that, I think there's a huge gap where a lot of the Gen Zers, they want to shop more sustainably. They want to vote with their dollars. However, there's not either a lot of options or there's not a lot of information and education out there on how to vet brands, right? How do you critically think that, okay, like this is a brand that I want to support, but I don't have the right toolkits to assess their corporate governance or ESG practice and all that. So I think it's really perfect for us as just normal consumers to start this conversation, because sustainability as a topic, as you said, Annette, is a very overwhelming area. It can have a lot of jargon, it can have a lot of misinformation, but I don't like the fact that it's reserved for experts. So, with that, I have a couple of questions for you guys. When you guys buy products, how do you normally buy it?
I'm just gonna be honest here, Josine. I don't mean to call you out, but I feel like me and Josine are very like different. I'm the type of person where it's like, if I want something, like I really need to think about it. Like if I'm buying a top, I'm like, okay, what are 3 different pairs of pants I can pair this top with? Like what's the cost per wear I can get out of this? And I honestly don't and that's like with anything, right? Like for example, when I bought these headphones, these are like $300 headphones, but then I was like, okay, but I work at home, like I need like a good pair of working head. I'm the type of person I really need to think it through. And honestly, I don't even think it's from a sustainability standpoint. It's just the fact that I was brought up by cheap parents. So that's just my thought process when it comes to making purchases. But like I can't lie and say that's like with every single purchase. Like I definitely have my fair share of impulse buys and all that stuff. But I will say, I feel like most of the time when I shop online, most of the time I return most of the stuff I buy, because it just like I get it and then I think about it for a few days and I'm like, you know what? I don't actually need this. So I guess it's just like a good trait to have. It's not even from a sustainability standpoint. It's just because I'm cheap.
Yeah, so you take your time. What about you, Josine?
I'm the complete opposite.
Are you an impulse buyer?
I get influenced easily, and I think, let's look at my phone. I think I have like 200 tabs open on my Safari of like different things that I want to buy for myself. And then the tabs slowly go away as I make my purchase.
Oh my God.
But it's also in the same like state as Annette, where it's like, I was also raised by pretty, I'm going to find a word that's a little better. Frugal parents. And like my family too is also pretty, they like to make sure that you can use stuff multiple times to make that purchase worth it. But I'm in my treat yourself era, so that's the complete difference. So that's why I was like making those faces when you're like, oh, I like to make sure, you know, I can get uses out of it. For me, it's like, oh, I want it, so I'm gonna get it. And now that I make big girl money, oh, I'm gonna get it. I feel like we're definitely like both like the different spectrums of like Gen Z buyers. The ones who are like, oh, I'm a sweet treat. I went through one day of work. I need to go and buy something for myself. And then the other side where it's like I'm going to make my opinion and my purchase based off like educating myself. I do
I mean,
educate
also,
myself though. I'll put that out there.
Mm.
She learns.
you do have, there's a half a brain cell in there.
Just like half though.
I will say though, I also think that just maybe comes with age. Like you're more aware of your money and your spending and all that. But also like if I think back to me in high school or like middle school, like when I wasn't working and my only source of income was like my like monthly, what's the word? Like
Allowance.
allowance I get from my parents. So it's like, okay, obviously I can't spend big bucks. But I think it's also interesting with TikTok now.
Mm.
People are so easily influenced, and I see a lot of like the younger Gen Z now buying into a
Mm.
lot of these TikTok trends. First question, where are they getting the money from? Second question, if they're getting it from their parents, they're letting them buy all this stuff? And just yeah, but I think at the end of the day with Gen Z at least, the one thing we're really good at is we're self-aware. That is one thing we can all agree on is we are
Mm-hmm.
self-aware, and I think that's the first step into becoming a more like sustainable society is that we're self-aware about our purchases and like how it's affecting the environment and our world.
Mm. That leads me to the next question. How are you guys practicing conscious consumption? Or do you want to?
I can definitely answer this considering my shopping habits are a little feral. But I think maybe what made purchasing a lot easier for me and a little less sporadic and like just doing it because I can. It's the fact that I realized I was like, oh, I should probably definitely see what this brand stands for because I don't want to like just put my dollar anywhere. So now I think even though I do make impulse purchases, a lot of them actually come from small businesses or something that I know I can like stand by. So I think it's just like having that information readily available because God, Lord knows I love the internet. So I'm just always there. And yes, I do have 200 tabs open, but next to those tabs are also about us page of the brand or what they do with the money that I give them. I just want
Mm.
to make sure that my money isn't going to someone who's supporting something that I don't stand next to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still very much an impulse buyer. So maybe through
That-
this podcast we'll learn a little bit better.
yeah, you'll gain some brain cells to become conscious consumers. But I think that's a really good way to go. When it's a new brand, especially, just check out the founder story, the about us, who the leadership is, or like who invested in the brand to see if they align with your personal value. And I think that's the practice I've been doing. What about you, Annette? How do you
I f-
practice conscious consumption?
Yeah, I feel like mine is kind of what I already touched on before, where it's just kind of like I really think about if I need something. So, for example, if I want to buy a pair of jeans, I'm like, okay, in my head, what other pairs of jeans do I have? Do I have a similar color? Do I have a similar style? Or even if it's like a beauty product, right? If I see a trending viral product on TikTok and I'm like, oh my God, I want to try that. But then I'm like, okay, what am I using right now? Is it something similar? Is it the same shade? Do I have something that already exists and does the same thing that I need it to? Hashtag slow down skincare. I also think it helps with the fact that I just don't have a lot of storage in my living space. So I'm like, I cannot add more things to a space that doesn't need more things. But hearing Josine speak more about like being aware of the brands you're buying from and like where your money's going, that's definitely a good point as well. I will now take that
Mm.
into look, you gave me a brain cell, Josine.
Well, that was the only one I had left, so give it back.
We'll trade back
I
and
love
forth.
that. No, but it's really true though. I mean, living in New York City, at least for me too, the closet space or the limited closet space forces me to become minimalist. And I don't just go shopping for clothes and I started renting clothes from like 5, 7 years ago, I feel like. So that's definitely a valid reason to practice also conscious consumption as well. Next question is, do you have a brand that you really like and support because of their values?
I'm like craving. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, yes, crave beauty, but let me see. I don't know. I feel like I'm the type of person that I feel like I don't really follow brands. Maybe that's I don't know, Josine, but I feel like that's kind of a Gen Z thing. It's like we like brands, but then there's not one that I'm like, oh my god, dedicated to.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because I think
I
I'm the
mean, I
same. I do
I
not
think for
follow any
me, it's
brands.
like as long as the brand isn't owned by a terrible person and they don't have
Mm.
terrible values, then I'm like, okay, yeah, you're cool. I support, I guess.
Yes, for brands, if I'm interested in them, I will go and look at their social media profiles and then also read on their website about them.
Mm.
But that's as far as I'll go.
I'm a bagoo girly. I'm gonna say it. I am a bagoo girly. But I mean,
Oh,
I
interesting.
feel like for me though, it's more of the I follow the brand because of the aesthetic of it and like kind of
Yeah.
the lifestyle it presents itself. But on top of that, like it's good to know that I'm supporting a brand that has like sustainable morals and values. So I think if Bagoo, let's say
Mm.
Bagoo was like a fast fashion brand, I probably would not care for it as much as I do.
Yeah, I love Baku as well. When you guys look up product reviews, would it be on TikTok or YouTube?
Oh, I actually just read reviews on the site because
Oh.
even for TikTok, I feel like there's already a bias there. Unless it's someone
Mm.
who physically says out loud, "This is not an ad. I like these chicken wings," or something like that.
Mm.
I don't know why I want the chicken wings. I think I don't have lunch yet, but it's I literally go to the internet for everything. I am definitely a Reddit user. And so I like to see real life application or real life styling of certain things just so that I can get a better sense of like what I'm going to buy.
Mm.
So I don't really go to TikTok or like YouTube. I think those days might be over. Don't want to say it is though, because I love YouTube. I'm a YouTube premium user. However, I do not go to YouTube anymore for reviews.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. What about
I
you,
think
Nat?
for product reviews, I'm the same as Josine. I always try to look at reviews on the site first because it just
Mm.
feels more genuine. Like if I want to see product swatches and I want to see how like that product would look on my skin tone, let's say it's like a blush. I'm like obviously a blush is not going to look the same on a darker skin tone as it does with me. So, I guess like kind of half and half. And then oh, you know what? No, I read TikTok comments for reviews. I'll go to like a TikTok video for
Mm.
the actual product and then I read the comments for reviews. But yeah, I don't really trust creators who make reviews on TikTok because you just never know these
Wow.
days.
Awesome. Well, that's it for the questions. And now passing the mic to you guys on what to expect for the future episodes of the 2B1B podcast.
Yes, yes. So obviously, two baddies, one brain cell. We've already kind of touched on that. Hopefully, as often as we can, we'll be bringing on a brain cell to kind of speak on these specific topics with us. Each episode will be a specific topic. So, for example, we have one lined up, kind of discussing like are Gen Z conscious consumers or are we more trend sheeple? And that's a conversation me and Josine are really excited to have, as well as the sustainability of trending products or topics. Like for example, like snail mucin is a big ingredient right now in the skincare world, but what is the sustainability behind getting like the snail secretion, and is it hurting the snails and all that, as well as like oat milk. Gen Z loves oat milk. I know I love oat milk. I love oat milk. But I know like there's conversations behind almond milk and how the production of almond milk isn't super sustainable because of like the amount of water it uses. So yeah,
Right.
just like a little sneak peek of some conversations we'll be having. And definitely if you guys are interested in hearing something and you want us to discuss something, like let us know. We are always open to the options and ideas.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm super excited and really looking forward to the future episodes so much as a listener. And as a viewer, you can listen to this podcast on any podcast hosting platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And the video version will be available on YouTube exclusively. So be sure to check out these beautiful faces of two certified baddies on YouTube under Anti-Consumer Consumer Club. So we'll see you guys there. And if you have any parting notes, Annette, Jazine?
Well, just super excited to dive into this and to have these interesting conversations, have some laughs, some giggles, not like performance gigs. But maybe if this blows up, me and Josie will have some live shows. We don't know.
Yeah,
Gotta
we'll be
manifest
in
that
your
energy.
area.
We'll
Yeah.
be Blackpink in your area? No.
Josette in your area.
Yeah, just so excited to get started on this and have you guys tune in.
I just gotta say, get ready for my unhinged behavior. Get ready to watch me get schooled because there's nothing going on up here sometimes. It's just fragile over and over again. So I'm very excited to know more and be a better person, because if there's one thing I think we can all agree on is that learning is universal, and if you're not growing anymore, look inward. Because I sure look inward. And I know I got a lot of things. I'm self-aware.
That is the quote of the day. Thank you so much, Josie and Annette, and I'll see you guys in the very first official episode as a listener and as a viewer. Bye!
Bye.